Hi, I'm Finn Russell, and I'm really proud to be the new brand ambassador for Spiritfilled.
It's Finn Russell. We're going to have some fun now. Lovely, Russell, another of these inventive kicks, and such an accurate piece of distribution. Russell again through a big hole. He's going to walk his way to the try line. Finn Russell. So we'll gather all his own work. Finn Russell.
How I got into rugby was my big brother played it, and I went along. I think I was primary 3, so about 7 years old, and I think as most younger brothers would want to do is see their big brother go and do something, try and follow in his footsteps, I suppose, and that's what led me to Stirling County. I started off there, primary 3, and continued it ever since. But there's a lot of other sports I did on the way. It wasn't always rugby for me. Rugby, tennis, golf, cricket, badminton, there's so many other sports that I did, and I think when I got to probably early teens kind of age, you sort of have to decide which sport you want to do because they all start coming together at weekends or the evenings and your schedule gets busier. So I think rugby was the one that I enjoyed the most, and again for me that's such a big part of life, but also sport, that I need to be enjoying what I'm doing to get the most out of myself, and that's probably why I stuck with rugby. I think my style of play would change over time actually. I think when I first broke into Glasgow and the Scotland team, it was seen as high risk kind of rugby, which personally I didn't view it as that, was just the style that I played. And then now I think over time it's changed and it's not being viewed as that high risk anymore, or as high risk as it was when I first broke in. There's more attacking kicks, more offloads coming in, there's more of these kind of skills that are becoming more and more normal, and with every player, not just the fly half or the standoff. And if you look at some of the other standoffs in the Northern Hemisphere, they're doing the same stuff as what I'm doing just now, and I think because I did it 12 years ago, it was seen as risky before then. If you threw an offload or tried a cross-field kick, it was something that had never been seen before almost, but then because of that it was risky. So I think it's probably the way I'd describe my play, be exciting, I think attacking, and part of it is solution-based, trying to figure out the defence, what they're doing and how to break that down and how to adapt as you go to win the game. Ultimately as a 10 you're mainly in attack and you're mainly trying to break down defences, so the game plan might have to change throughout the game, and being able to adapt and change as you go is probably one of my biggest strengths. Yeah, I think changing techniques, game plans as the game grows, you have to do it, and if you want to stay at the top level, that's hugely important. Defences are getting better, players are getting better, everything's changing as sport develops, and I think being able to stay ahead of that or staying up to speed with that is, for myself at 31 years old, I've got to do that. Part of that for me is the experience I get and making sure that I'm learning from every game and every training session, but also getting to know the players that I play with. Each team that I go to, there's new players, there's new skills, there's new developments. So the more I can adjust my game and try and fit into each team, but also the way that rugby's moving is so important for a 10. And I think as a 10, if you get left behind with the old techniques, the old game plan, the old styles, then that's when you'll kind of get left behind. So for me, it's trying to stay ahead of whatever's coming new. Yeah, I think getting to know the guys at Spiritfilled, it's a very similar mindset they've got off the field that I have on it. There's a lot of, rugby's rugby, it's not going to change, the rules are the same, the style of play will change, and there'll be different developments depending on the individuals. And I think looking at whisky, it's been around for a long time now, and things will change as it goes. But I suppose the fundamentals will stay the same, and there's different players, different skills with all the teams, with each different bottle, a different cask, and it's very similar but in a different field. And I think that's an exciting thing, that the guys here, they're forward thinking, they want to stay ahead of the curve, and that is so important on rugby but also in whisky, and making sure that whatever's coming, they can see it, they can adapt, and they can plan for that, and they can be ahead of everyone else. And that's something that is really exciting in business, but also in rugby. Yeah, so I've invested in a couple of casks of whisky. It's probably something that I only kind of really heard of or got into over the last 4, 5, 6 years maybe. A friend of mine that I played with, they set up a gin company, so I first invested in gin, and then they went into whisky from there. So through that I got to know them and a little bit about buying casks of whisky. And for me, I think it's a great investment. I think the longer you can afford to leave it, the better the investment it is, and it's something that for my daughters to come, I'll probably get casks for them in the future, and it's always a nice thing to hand down. And being Scottish, it's I suppose kind of part of our country, part of our nation. So I think having supporting the Scottish brands and the Scottish distilleries is brilliant. But I think then the investment you can put in and the longer you can leave it, so it's a brilliant opportunity for people. I think one of the biggest things to becoming part of Spiritfilled was the Scottish whisky, coming from Scotland, being so passionate about Scotland, and it's one of our main prides. Whisky gets exported worldwide, and I think me trying to help grow Scotland as much as a whisky brand itself is something I'm really looking forward to doing. And as much as I'm invested in whisky myself, it's being part of Scotland and the Scottish culture and heritage is massive for me. The way the relationship started between Spiritfilled and myself was I was chatting to Ross and Russ, and had a meeting, had a lunch. It sounded really exciting what the guys are doing, and I think for me it goes back to a bit of the heritage in Scotland with the distilleries up there, and me wanting to buy some cash and investment for my kids, my daughters. Was a great opportunity there, and what's to come. And I think if you look at the mythical beast and the different bottles and the different casks that they have available, it's very interesting that each beast has a different cask or a different whisky in it, and that comes from different areas of Scotland. So no two beasts are the same, and that's something that's really exciting. So it's a really cool idea, having different ideas, different beasts from different areas. I'm looking forward to trying a few of them and finding the one that I really love.